You only have one life to live, so get the most out of it. On Good Life, Great Life, join me, Brian Highfield, and my guests as we share success stories, habits, mindsets, and lessons learned by successful people. These lessons are not taught in schools, but are critical for getting ahead in life. Whether you want a successful business or career, optimal health, or a lifestyle that most people just dream of, Good Life, Great Life has you covered. After retiring from a successful corporate career in my 40s, I founded multi-million-dollar businesses in the sports and healthcare arenas. Now, I help everyday people maximize their lives and speak regularly at seminars, on podcasts, and radio shows to share principles on the topics of health, wealth, and happiness. Don't let a good life get in the way of a great life. Join me today on Good Life, Great Life. Well, welcome to the final episode of Good Life, Great Life for the year. Question for everybody. Do you like to reflect on the past year, or are you more forward-looking, or both? For me, I always tend to look forward. I'm a forward-thinking person. I was thinking today of just accomplishments of the year, and there were things in there as I looked through memories on Facebook, and as I looked through photo albums on my phone, things that I forgot about. So that tells me right there, I'm more forward looking than reminiscing about the past. And so as small business owners, as entrepreneurs, we tend to look forward and we cast that vision forward to see what may be coming our way and what opportunities are in front of us. So what are you thinking about right now? I mean, some of the things I'm thinking about the economy. I think it's on everyone's mind, especially if you're entrepreneurial or if you're business minded. You're thinking about what's in store for 2023 in the economy. 2022 was an interesting year as COVID kind of wrapped up and people started spending their money differently. People were still leaving the labor market, inflation skyrocketing to 40-year highs. A lot happening there. We're starting to see more layoffs happen right now. Stock market is pretty much tanking. Seeing incredible stocks that everyone talked about a year or two ago have lost 70, even 90% of their value here, just even in the past few months. It's been very, very crazy and very unpredictable. Housing market still strong, although interest rates are rising, are up. But you know, you got to put it in perspective as well as when it comes to interest rates and mortgage rates. When I bought my first house in late 90s, I think I got 5.25%, something like that, and that was considered really good in its time. And of course, you know, with much lower interest rates, I mean, money was basically free, and we got used to that over the past decade, having access to free capital essentially. And now rates are going up, and people are kind of all in a panic. But again, put it in perspective of the long term, it's still relatively cheap money, even with interest rates as 6-7% with mortgage rates right now. Tax season's up on us as well. So I've been kind of finalizing everything for the year, finalizing our tax strategy, finalizing all the accounting stuff that you need to do for your business to get ready for filing your taxes early next year. And so what new tax strategies may you be implementing for the following year? That's always interesting to look at, because you really have to plan that from January going forward as what your tax strategy for next year really is going to be. So those are some things that have been on my mind here recently when I think about business. I do want to tell you a little story. I'm copying this story from someone else I heard it from. I don't know his name, but he told the story, and he was actually telling the story that he had heard. So he wasn't the originator of the story either, but he was telling the story about the hot dog vendor. And the hot dog vendor, he started out with one cart on one corner of the street and sold hot dogs. And he was building his business because he wanted to send his son off to school in the best school possible. So he built a little hot dog empire as things evolved. And he was ultimately able to send his son to Harvard Business School and where he graduated. So by the time his son graduated from school, he came home, and the hot dog empire had grown from one cart to over 25 carts. And he was making money hand over fist in his business. And his son comes home and says, Dad, what are you doing? We're in a recession. You can't be growing your business. You can't be buying the best hot dogs. You can't be employing all these people. We're in a recession. We need to cut back. And the father, not really knowing any better and trusting his son from Harvard Business School, made cuts. And by the end of that year, he was back down to one cart of hot dogs. And kind of the more of the story is that you don't need to really follow the masses in what's going on. You can create your own economy in your business. There's the macro economy that may offer some factors into how fast your business can grow, but the deciding factor in your business and your desires is more the microeconomy of what you do and the choices you make. One of my mentors told me, he said, if your income if your income is based on who's in the White House, then you really have some financial issues. You really need to be independent regardless of what political party is in control. You need to be in control of your business and not hand that over to external factors like politics or like the macro economy, interest rates, things like that. So those are all those have been discussed as we've done our podcast with all these different thought leaders, all these successful entrepreneurs out there. And one of the underlying factors that you hear over and over for every entrepreneur that we talk to is you don't know what you don't know. There's so much out there that you don't know. There's so much out there that's not taught in schools. You really have to learn it for yourself, and you really have to find people and learn from others on how they were successful and what they have done. And that's why we talk a lot about networking, why we want to reach out and establish friendships and relationships with other people and ask them questions about what made them successful, about what they do, what type of business they are in. I've learned so much just in this past year. I've been in business a long time, but just even this past year, I found other ways to invest my time, invest my money, and business ventures that were just unheard of. I never heard of them before. And they were again, you don't know what you don't know. And through those relationships, I found of other ways that I didn't even know existed and tapped into that and now taking benefits from that. And I advise everyone to do the same. Find those successful business people, ask them questions. What do you do? How do you do it? What made you successful? What were the traps that you need to look out for? What are the characteristics that someone doing the same thing needs to have, and what steps would they take? Ask those types of questions of those folks that you deem successful, whatever success means to you. And then one final thought is really a story, and this was getting passed around on social media a little bit, and I just thought it was so telling. It was so telling, and I think it's really relatable to everybody. Everybody can understand this, and so the story goes like this. I don't know if it's so much a story, but just kind of an analogy here. What if you played the game Monopoly? Everyone knows Monopoly, right? We've been playing it since we were kids. And you try to buy all these properties. You buy the properties, you build houses, you build hotels, and then you charge rent for those people that land on your properties, land on your railroad, land on your utilities. That's the name of the game. And you try to take the money from everybody else in the game and create a monopoly, right? That's why it's called Monopoly. But what if you played the game where you never bought an asset, you never bought a single property, you never built a single house, you didn't buy any railroads, you didn't buy any utilities. All you did was circle the board and collect $200 every time you pass go. and you tried to stay out of jail. That's all you did. What if that was your strategy for playing Monopoly? Do you think you could get ahead or win the game? And the answer is obviously no. However, when you think about that, that is how most people live their lives. That is their financial strategy, is they just want to go around the board, collect their $200 and stay out of jail. Okay. And basically staying out of jail just means that, you try to avoid those high expenses, right? You try to avoid those. Versus buying assets, creating assets. And again, most people don't have the capital to buy an asset that they can invest and make money. But they're unaware of how to build those assets for themselves with little or no money. And we talk a lot about that on this podcast as well. Is those types of opportunities as well for that everyone can participate in. There's opportunity all around you and around everybody. And we try to teach people how to recognize those opportunities and decide if that's the right opportunity for you. And maybe it's multiple, maybe it's trying a couple different things, and to find what you're passionate about and where you want to invest your time and build that. Because if you're not passionate about it, then it's probably not going to happen, right? Because there's going to be all types of distractions, because most people are working, they're an employee, they're working a job. And so this passion project, this business that you want to start, this asset that you want to build, is going to consume all that extra time that we don't even think we have, right? And so if you're not passionate about it, how likely are you to be excited and go and build that asset for yourself and your family and for your legacy? And so you may have to look around and find some different things, and then find what you're passionate about and pour some energy into it where you can, and little by little, consistency over a period of time to build that up for yourself. And that asset is what's is going to go out there. And we use the phrase turn the hamster wheel, right? Because if you're working a job, you're running on the hamster wheel, right? You're running on it. They're paying you money for every time that wheel turns around. But what we're talking about is an asset, an engine that's going to turn the wheel for you and generate an income for yourself. And that's what we call leverage, right? And that's what we want. That's what winning Monopoly means. You have leverage. You have assets that are making your money. So you already went around a few times to collect $200, and you use that money to then buy assets. And then those assets in turn were buying more money. What would be cool if you added a flavor of Monopoly where you had the choice to buy liabilities too. You can buy the fancy sports car. You can buy the Louis Vuitton bag. You can buy the Rolex watch. These things that are symbols of success, but are actually liabilities because they just take your money. They're not making you any money. They depreciate. They go down in value. Most of those assets do. That would be a cool flavor if we could add that to Monopoly and give people the choice out there. But they don't. Your only choice is to buy assets, because again, they're guiding you in the right direction. Buy assets, buy property, buy railroads, buy utilities, build homes, rent them out. And so that in order to generate cash flow and win the game. And so think about that. Most people are just going around the board, collecting their $200 and trying to avoid the high expense of going to jail, right? And so I love that analogy because it really is relatable. People can understand and get them to think like, maybe I should do something different. Maybe there is more out there, and I just got to find it. I got to look for it. And you don't have to look very far. Like I said, there's opportunities all around us every single day, and we just got to find one that fits our passion and start building it. And it may take some time. And people, that's another big thing that we've talked about on the show as well, is the sacrifices that need to take. A lot of people give up after a few months and because they're not seeing the results, right? And That's why we like to use the analogy that we're all farmers. We're not hunters, we're farmers. We need to plant the seeds, we need to water, we need to fertilize, we need to take care of the land and nurture the plants and grow something meaningful, rather than a hunter who's just out there like shooting things down, right? But want to wish everybody happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. I look forward to bringing you more episodes and more thought leadership in the area of entrepreneurism and small business, and go into 2023 positioned to grow something for you and your family and your future legacy. So again, thank you so much for being a loyal listener and a loyal follower of us. And we hope to bring you some great content into the new year. So again, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year to everybody.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Good Life, Great Life, brought to you by Brian Highfield. We hope you enjoyed listening to this week's guests and stories. If you like what you've heard, please consider subscribing wherever you listen to podcasts.